VA's Office of Blind Rehabilitation Services estimates there are approximately 130,000 veterans in the United States who are legally blind, and more than 1 million veterans who have low vision that causes a loss of ability to perform necessary daily activities. In this era of instant communication, where we get overwhelmed with data or facts that are useless to unsighted individuals, wouldn't it be great if we could count on news focused on real problems that impact the daily lives of veterans without sight? Introducing Wisdom for Blinded Veterans, an advanced informational portal designed by blind veterans specifically for blind and vision-impaired vets that, like them, are facing challenges every day. Hi, my name is Ben, and I know the frustration. I've struggled in day-to-day tasks for over 20 years since I lost my eyesight. One of my biggest challenges has always been trying to stay up to date with the latest information of my eye disease, local news, and the ever-changing technology. I wanted to be able to have one single site that merged all the data scattered, and that's why we created Wisdom for Blinded Vets. This is a portal that can be accessed via the web, a smartphone app, telephone, email, text messaging, or Amazon's Alexa. It integrates with readers such as JAWS or Apple's VoiceOver and various other tools to give you a seamless experience. This portal will keep us updated on a variety of topics and will share knowledge that can help make our lives easier and more fulfilled. Highlights of the topics covered on the portal include podcasts, events, news, blind rehab and training, information on the BVA and other groups, a list of coordinator and bros list, online groups to interact with fellow vets facing the same challenges, and much more. Give us a try. You will not be disappointed. To learn more about us, visit our website www.w4bv.org. If you're interested in sharing your knowledge, please consider becoming a contributor by logging into our portal and going to the contributor section for more information. Wisdom for Blinded Veterans, transforming blind veterans' lives.
You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
Have you ever wondered about your finances? About different ways that you can budget? Your credit, savings, retirement plans? If so, we've got you covered on InSight to Finance, where we dive into the fascinating world of finances and guide you through budgeting, credit, savings, and retirement plans, among other things as well. You're listening to InSight to Finance. From Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, here's your host, Benjamin Keeley.
Hey, Alex, man, you always make me look good. Happy New Year to you, buddy. And thanks for bringing us into another episode of Insight to Finance. Today we have a great guest with us. We're going to be talking about some different options to help you control your budgets and your expenditures for 2025. And our guest today is Rick, the Money Man. Hey, Rick, how are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you.
So, tell me a little bit about you, where you grew up and went to school, and how you got involved in this venture that you're running right now.
All right. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks. Yeah. I'm officially turning old this month, I think. I'm going to be 65, and I'm super excited about it. I don't know why, but I'm super excited about it. And so
Well, Rick, you got me by 2 years.
Oh, do I? Okay. It was funny when I got the Medicare card. I was like, well, look, it's official. So it's like, man, all right. I work in financial services is what I do. And I believe that most people, what they really know about finance is really only what the bank has taught. And so somewhere along my life, I decided that what I was going to do is I was going to make a transition, and I was going to start to work with families and start to show them a better path to financial freedom. Because even though it may seem challenging for most people, financial freedom is still possible, is what it is. It takes more than just getting a bill and paying a bill. That won't get anybody to financial freedom. What that will do is keep them in debt for their entire lives. And, for the most part, everybody's optimistic and believe that they're going to get out of debt. The problem is that they don't. And there's probably a myriad of reasons for that, but mostly it's because life happens to everybody. We just don't realize, how far some event could take us. About 11 years ago, I had a stroke, and for about 4 years, it kind of left me on the sideline. And, at that time, what happens? Well, I'm not earning money now, and I'm accumulating bills because there's medical expenses. And so all of a sudden, that could have been catastrophic. That could have derailed me. Fortunately, through insurance and, through the system that I offer, I was able to go ahead and still leverage it, but I was able to not pay the interest on it, which made it more manageable. So anyway, back to your question was like, well, where did I grow up or whatever? I mean, I grew up really in a small town in Kentucky. Not much going on there. There were more bars than there were churches. So there wasn't really much happening in that town. And I decided I was going to join the military. I went into the military and never went back. Never went back home. I stayed gone because I liked everywhere else better. And
what branch were you?
I was in the Air Force.
Oh, that's okay. Navy's better, but that's okay.
Yeah, my grandpa, he was in the Navy. He was actually, it was funny. Some of the childhood memories I have is him cooking, but he couldn't cook just a pot of beans. He had to cook a pot of beans that was the size pot for the aircraft carrier.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's how he knew to cook. But yeah, the military was good. I was a canine handler, and so I enjoyed what I was doing there. But even that wasn't really what I was looking for. And and crazy enough, my neighbor across the street said, "Hey, have you ever thought about helping schools raise money?" And he ran a fundraising company, and I started helping schools to raise money. But even that wasn't really what I was really looking for in life. And truly, I really didn't know. I basically chased money everywhere, trying to figure out how do I make it in this world. If you make enough, you'll finally make it, right? But that's not the case, because the more you make, the more bills you acquire. And so it really, if I could just make an extra $1,000 a month, if you do, and it's consistent, you'll end up finding more debt to fill up that 1,000. So I never really found the freedom that I was really looking for. But when I got into business, that's when I learned that I really need to do something different financially, because, using other people's monies, whether it's credit cards or personal loans or whatever it is, we just don't realize how far that's going to take us down the road. And it's not a good picture. And if you think about it, what most people know is, again, only what the banks have told them. And so, to give you my favorite example is that on like someone's mortgage payment, on all that paperwork we sign, it actually says in there that there's no prepayment penalty. You've probably seen that before or heard of it before. Well, think about that. But there's no instructions there to explain how to do that, right? It's just the fact that there is something. And of course, the bank's never going to tell anyone about that. They've got no purpose to tell them, because then you're cutting into their profit. So And so a few, I don't know, 6 years ago, I think, I ran across a lady that I was working for a medical lab. And that medical lab ran Medicare tests, and all of a sudden they were going to start doing something different. Well, one of the employees there said, you're always showing these people stuff about their money. Why don't you go ahead and do it professionally? And so I did. I started to look into it, and over the next couple of years, I built one of the largest brokerages in the country. And so, but it wasn't really, I later on learned that it really wasn't really me doing that. It was just the fact, it was the desire that I had to try to help people. And that's really where I'm at today. I don't have stuff that I try to sell. Although there are things that are sold, you have to have some kind of program, but it's just inside of me. It's really more about who I am as an individual. I know when I was going through my financial situations, the thing that I wished for is I wish someone would come along and help me. And, fortunately, I thank God that someone did. And today I live my life trying to give back, doing what I can to try to help others financially. And so simply because I believe that, from what I've seen in my life, I believe that they need it and they're appreciative of it. So, and that's really it for me.
That's cool. And how long did you serve in the Army?
I was the Air Force. I only sent just those.
I'm sorry, the Air Force. I knew that.
Just those 4 years. The 4 years. So it wasn't a big thing for me. My uncle was in the Air Force. He loved it. He spent his entire life there. But for me, like I mentioned, when I was young, I was thinking about how do you make millions. Right, that's what I was thinking. How do you make millions of dollars in this country?
Well, I keep on going to make a million, but I don't win.
Yeah, well, that's just it. It's not as easy to make money as some people would think, but it's not as easy to keep money either as some people would think. It's a lot harder it's hard to make it and it's hard to keep it. And so I decided that I was going to go ahead and embark in that career, and I'm glad I did, because I can actually say that I've set families on course for a completely different legacy is what I've done, and best of all is that I can see it happening for them, because I actually get to see the results of what they're doing, and so with that we love it, and I love what I do for folks.
Well, that's good. So I understand you're a grandfather too?
Yes, I am. I've got 12 grandbabies. I don't get to see them all because they live around the world, but there are 3 of them right here, very close to me, and I get to see them all the time. And that's the best part of life right there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I love it.
That sounds good. So it's very cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick little break, and what we're going to do is check in with the studio and get some public announcements done, and then we're going to come back and we're going to jump into your app and how that works. Is that okay with you?
Sure. Absolutely.
All right. It's Rick, the Money Man. Am I saying that right?
Online, I'm known as the Money Max Guy.
The Money Max Guy. I'm sorry. So we're going to be back with Rick, the Money Man, the Money Max Guy. Just stick with us. We'll be right back. This is Ben coming from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in sunny, very cold Fort Lauderdale, Florida today. And we'll be right back. Thank you.
Wisdom for the Blind is dedicated to doing everything we can for the blind and sight impaired. If you'd like to bless us with a donation to keep the website, the podcast, the webinars, and the radio station operating, we can't express how grateful we'd be. You can go to the website at w4tb.org. That's4tb.org, and hit the donation button. Or you can mail it to Wisdom for the Blind Incorporated. Attention donations. 1005 Marine Mile Boulevard, Suite 255, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. 333-15. Wisdom for the Blind is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Remember, it's tax deductible. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts at Wisdom for the Blind.
Looking for a fitness app that is accessible for the blind? Well, look no further. Revision Fitness is just what the trainer ordered. This audio and text-based fitness program has a wide selection of fitness options, including cardio, strength, yoga, balance, flexibility, and even progressive relaxation sessions. Download Revision Fitness on the App Store or Google Play, or visit revisionfitnessapp.com and get a free 14-day trial for new users. Find your fit with Revision Fitness. And as always,
Revision Fitness.
Let's change the way we look at it.
You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
Everybody, I appreciate you guys in the studio keeping us honest. And this is Ben with Insight to Finance, coming from Fort Lauderdale Studios for Wisdom for the Blind. And today our guest is Rick, the Money Max guy. Rick, welcome back, buddy.
Thanks, Ben. I appreciate you.
So what I want to get into now is, you mentioned earlier that you basically, your company has a program or a plan that helps do that. So I'd like to, number one, talk about that plan, how it works, and we'll dig into that a little more. Is that okay?
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. So explain us the plan and the service that you offer.
Okay. Well, it's called the Money Max account, is what it's called. As I mentioned before, we've been using the program for about 20 years now. But where it all started is, we used to be in the mortgage business, and we were really good in the mortgage business. We used technology to basically drive that business to new heights just within a couple years, having as many as 60 processors. And so but toward the end of the 1990s, that's when the dot-com bubble was bursting, and it left everybody scrambling to try to figure out how to refinance their lives or end up losing it all. And, refinancing, for all the loan officers, of course, they're happy about that, right? So that's good for the mortgage business, but not for really the founders of our company. For us, what it was all about is about, we knew what was happening to those families, and sooner or later they would get to a point in life where they may not be able to refinance anything anymore. And so, so they were basically trying to use their home like a piggy bank. And there's nothing wrong with that, except for that, how much money do we give away in interest? And for a lot of folks, they really have no idea what they're giving away. When they hear something like a 3% loan, they think that means they're going to pay 3% money. That's not 3% money. That's about 50% money. So $400,000 home, $200,000 of interest. Well, the Money Max account is it's a cloud-based system that people would log into from anywhere, and I want you to think of it more like actually the best way to explain it would be like explaining GPS. GPS has got satellites circling the Earth 10,000 miles an hour, and it's capable of seeing exactly where you are on Earth. The way that it works, it knows. So it knows your coordinates, so to speak. And if you told it where you wanted to go, it would be able to go ahead and map out a course, which would be the fastest route to go ahead and get you to that destination. Along the way, it would help you avoid things that might slow you down. Additionally, it even provides an ETA. So, if mom calls and says, hey, how far are you? You can say, oh, I'm 11 minutes away. And so it's used by billions of people around the world, and it's trusted by everybody. Well, imagine if you could have that type of technology, but you could have it for your finances. In other words, the system would know your financial coordinates. And if your goal was to be debt-free, that all of a sudden it could point you in the direction to what is the fastest possible route based on your own circumstances to get you to debt-free. The typical for us is that clients, regardless of the debt that they have, even brand new 30-year mortgages, will typically become completely debt-free, usually in the 7 to 10-year range. Sometimes it's even better. But all clients actually have a victory using the program. It's because we don't realize how we're being disadvantaged. When I look at someone's payment, like on a mortgage, if you think about those first 7 years, those first 7 years of a mortgage, you're giving away 50, 60, sometimes even 70, 80, and 90% interest dollars inside of your payment. I just recently worked with a client that had only a $200,000 mortgage at 6%. When they made their first $1,500 payment, only $200 of that was principal. And so $1,300 out of $1,500 is not theirs. Well, that's not how you become wealthy in America. That's how the bank becomes wealthy in America. And the sad part about it is, Ben, is that they know that the average family will actually either move or they will refinance that mortgage about every 7 years to do updates on the home, driving it back to 30 years again, keeping people in financial bondage, so to speak, continuing to go ahead and pay out 50, 60, 70, sometimes even 80 and 90%. They just never get out of the trap. And so even though they would love to, they just never find a way. And that's where we come in. And so imagine this. Imagine that the system would be able to look at all of your income, even whether it's easy income coming consistently or it's irregular income like commission salesperson. Imagine that it could see all of your income. It would see what your monthly bills come up to and where they go. It knows the days that they go on because this is custom built for each client. So it would know the days that those payments are being made. And then it would be able to see basically what your financial outlook looks like. Here's how much my income is. This is what my bills are. This is what's left over. And then it would be able to go ahead and provide you with that route to go ahead and get to where you want to go. And so what it will do then is that each month it will go ahead and provide you some instructions. No different than GPS says turn left or turn right. But this is about money. And so what it would do is it would tell you who to give some of your discretionary money to. It would tell you the exact day to go ahead and make that extra payment on. It would even give you the specific amount to pay and then actually show you something that you're really going to like, how much interest it would cancel in doing that. The one mortgage payment appropriately applied could mean you could knock out $10,000, $20,000, even $30,000 of interest if you knew exactly when to do that. Well, this program does know when. It was $30 million in the making, took about 6 years to put it all together. But it was worth it. Since then, we've won numerous awards for what it is that we do. We're even Ernst & Young award winners in the financial services sector. So we've created something that is no different than what Microsoft created or Apple created or Amazon. That they've created something that is basically life altering in the world, paradigm shifting they call it, and that's us. So today we have this disruptive technology that anybody with any level of debt can actually find financial freedom if that's what they're really looking for. But it starts by getting the bank's long arm out of your pocket is where it starts.
That's very interesting. So you look at not only mortgages, credit cards, car loans, college funds, everything?
We look at everything. If we believe that on your money, you should be earning interest and not paying interest. And so In using the program, most of our clients will end up getting what is called their net effective rate. In other words, what I'm really paying. We get most of our clients down under 2%. And so 2% on your mortgage, 2% on your credit cards. And because we're able to do that, or the technology is able to do that, but because we're able to do that, they're able to get out of debt so much quicker. If we actually get people, believe it or not, some of our clients don't even pay 1% across the board. And so, well, that's as close to financing your entire life at 0%. And that's really the fast start that everybody needs. And the thing about it is there's no magic to it. It's all math is what it is. And so it's just complicated math. If you had $200 that I've got $200. I want to send this in to one of my creditors. You've got a mortgage, you've got a car payment, you've got student debt, you've got a credit card, you have a personal loan. All of them are at 6%. Well, who do I give it to? Well, for the most part, how do we do that? We guess, right? Also, I feel like sending it here. Well, for most people, the relationship that they have with money is not a good relationship. And the truth is that we wouldn't know where to send it. However, there is an algorithm that would know where to send it based on the dollars that it's costing you. What are those interest rates are equating to dollars, and which one's hurting you the most? Well, the system is going to direct that to where it would save you the most amount of interest in each given month. And so saving interest means collapsing the timeline. And that's what we do.
So do you work with the mortgage companies and the credit cards to negotiate a better rate, or how does that work?
No, we don't need to. We don't need to do that. So there's no refinancing. There's no consolidation. You don't need any of that. What you need is the math behind the piece of debt is what you need. For instance, if I owed $10,000 to someone and I was supposed to pay 18% interest, at the end of the year, they want me to give them $1,800. But what if I paid it off early and I only gave them $1,000 of interest? Well, then my net effective rate was only 10%. Well, that's the idea, is that if you know how to pay something off early, well, then you're changing the amount of interest and the net effective rate of that item. Well, the problem is that we don't know who to pay. And we tend to guess with our money. And if we guess wrongly, it actually means that we could have given that extra money away for free, making zero impact on the balance. People do it all the time with their credit cards. They think I'll send an extra $20 or an extra $30, thinking that they're going to make impact. But if they don't know the right day to send it on, well, then they may have given that $20 or $30 away for free. It made zero impact on the balance. And so, but they just don't know that. And the lenders are not going to tell them that. But we show them. And we show them exactly what the lenders are doing and how it works and why you would want to avoid that. Today, there's a huge number. I mean, some people say that it's more than half of the student loans that are out there are actually negative amortized. So when you make a payment, your balance goes up. It doesn't go down like it would on a normal loan. It's because they have you making a smaller payment, and that money's getting chewed up in interest. They just don't realize it. But some of those loans, they will never pay off. And so it's like that for a lot of folks, Ben. Ben, I mean, I'm not kidding you. When I talk to you about being disadvantaged, financially, there's not one person that's out there financing anything that if they think they're beating the bank, they're not. The investors use us because we make investors more profitable. Just run-of-the-mill homeowners use us because what we do changes their life, and it's measurable. They can actually see what's taking place month in and month out. You might make one mortgage payment, but it might knock out 3 mortgage payments. And it's the kind of action plan that we would really like to have for ourselves if somebody would just give us the instructions. Well, that's what we've been doing for 20 years. It's a system. There's a one-time purchase price. It typically costs maybe like 1 or maybe even 2 mortgage payments, depending on the circumstances. But for a mortgage payment or 2, you might be able to knock out 20 years of mortgage payments. And so who wouldn't do that? Everybody would. And that's the idea about the MoneyMax account, is that it's this cloud-based system that does all those math calculations for us. The spreadsheets are static, but ours is dynamic, constantly adjusting each month. Each time you click on something, this is millions of lines of code, and they're all being activated every time you click something. And so trying to figure out a way to do it on our own, it's just not possible. And even though we're all highly optimistic that someday in the future it will get better, my oldest client's 82. I have loads of clients that are in their 70s still trying to figure out how to get rid of this mortgage payment. And they just don't have to do that. It's a lot easier than what they're thinking. So,
have you ever heard of like a second mortgage that was sold back in the trauma of real estate and mortgages and everything, and it was never pursued until like out of the blue, and they say that you're in default and you owe all this interest and everything?
Well, there's all kinds of things that are like that, unfortunately. Because a lot of folks, they don't necessarily know what they're signing up for, because it's like instant relief, right? I'll take this instant relief. And which on the surface sounds good. Like, for instance, with the COVID situation, there were loads of people that they said, mortgage companies told them, hey, what we'll do is we'll let you take these 5 mortgage payments or 6 mortgage payments, and we'll roll them to the back of your note. Well, what they did for some of them, not all, but for some, what they did is they generated a new note. Well, over the next 20 years or however long that mortgage is, that note is accumulating interest. But yet people are making zero headway on it. So when they do finally think that they're getting to the finish line, well, then they realize, well, wait a minute, we put those payments into deferment, they wrapped them into a new note, and now we owe that and all the interest on that. And that's lending. That's what lending is. Lending is, if you talk to the banker, he's saying, oh, I'm being helpful. But the lending is not necessarily helpful. Lending means that we can have some instant gratification. I can go buy a car today because I can leverage the car. But what is it really costing you? I mean, you go out and buy, today a car costs more than my first home. And so, and when you think about the interest that you'll pay on that, it's not a little bit of money. And it's giving away thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that everyone's going to need for their future.
Right.
And today, when you look at like today, think about it. Right here at the beginning of the year, they reported the credit card, where we are on credit cards. And in the credit cards are so bad, Congress is even talking to them. And it was surprising because they interviewed MasterCard and they asked, what's the specific interest that you make by running your MasterCard program? And they said better than 50%. They make better than 50% on their money.
Wow.
Then they asked Visa, and Visa, he didn't know his number either. So the congressman asked him to guess. He said, well, if I was guessing, I'd say it's a little higher than MasterCard. And so so they don't even want to tell you how much margins they make, but yet they're making basically billions and billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars. And they make it off of people that are out there working, breaking their back, working, think about the guys that are out there trying to sell cars, working 50, 60 hours. The guys that are out there selling homes, how easy it is. Realtors struggle left and right. It's just not as easy as it used to be. Once upon a time, when I was a little boy, Grandma stayed home. Grandpa went to work. Grandma stayed home, took care of the house. Then all of a sudden it got to be where grandma had to go to work or whatever. Well, today it's husbands and wives work, and they both work, and they still struggle financially. It's a sad situation, but that's where I believe I'm making a difference in the world, Ben, is that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, we got to check in for another break. So just stick with us, Rick. This is Ben with Insight to Finance from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in sunny, cold Fort Lauderdale, and we'll be right back.
Do you enjoy a good read? Or do you enjoy sharing new books with friends? Then join us on the second Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Wisdom Books, a virtual book club just for the blind or visually impaired. You can also hear a pre-recorded episode on Wisdom Radio every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. For more information, go to w4tb.org and click the link Wisdom Books for more information. And please don't forget to share the wisdom.
Veterans deserve as much help as they can get. They put their lives on the line for their country, and yet there's still an ongoing mental health crisis among military veterans that needs to be addressed. Well, if you're a veteran who wants the support of fellow veterans and to support fellow veterans, join Wisdom for the Blind's Cup of Joe virtual coffee and chat. It's low-key, fun, and gives veterans an outlet to talk with others who fully understand what they're going through. Get connected at Wisdom for the Blind's website, w4tb.org/cupofjoe.
You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
Hey guys, thanks for sticking with us. This is Ben with InSight to Finance. Today our guest is Rick, the Money Max man. Did I get it right?
Yeah, you got it. You got it, man. That's good enough.
All right. Well, I'm 63, so
yeah,
it takes a little while sometimes.
Yeah.
So, a very interesting program. So tell me, if somebody's interested to get up with you, how would they do that?
They could just, if they wanted to, they could go to the website and they could just schedule their own appointment right there if they'd like. So it just depends on what they're trying to do. If somebody is struggling though, or they're not making headway, they should want an appointment with us, is what they should want. We don't have any, we don't promise anything. We don't know anything. Well, everything that we do is mathematical. And so, and what we do with a client is that we actually allow them to take their debt information and put it inside of the algorithm to see what's it saying, what's it going to do for them. And that right there, everybody should run to go get that done. Because, think about it. Would we want to pay, would we want to pay on debt even for a year longer than we had to? No, of course we wouldn't. Well, how do we get out of the trap? Well, that's where we need to get the analysis done. And it's non-invasive. What we do is we enter in some basic data, like, who the account is, Chase, Visa, Amex. We put in the mortgages, we put in the interest rates, we put in there, what your payments are. And then in a few minutes, the system actually tells us what it would do. And for most clients, when we say keep interest, most of our clients are keeping tens of thousands, some of them even hundreds of thousands of dollars of interest that they don't give away now, that they can keep for their own future. They still earned the money. They just didn't give it to the bank. Thank goodness.
And do you sell your data that you get from the clients?
No, we don't sell the data that we get from the clients. This is private between them and us, is what it is. Yeah. So no. Crazy enough, we don't even really send our clients a bunch of mail. We follow up with them. Each individual advisor follows up with them. But clients don't want to be pestered. They also don't want to be bombarded with a bunch of, spam email or whatever. And so we don't do any of that. We do provide all the coaching though. And so, like with my clients, I end up basically, when they're new, I usually log in with them once a week for the first month or so, teaching them the software so that they know how to use the software. So there's no one that's guessing at what to do with the money. And Ben, quite frankly, that's really the biggest hurdle, because most of us just guess at what to do with money. But your future is way too important to try to guess with something that's so important. And so we shouldn't be doing that. What we want to do is we want to take a very pragmatic approach. And the best way to be able to do that is by looking at the interest dollars that you're getting ready to give away. And so when we sit down with a client, we show them a couple things that are going to be really eye-opening. The first one they'll see is how much interest they're giving away per month is what they'll see. Inside of their $5,000 a month worth of bills or $6,000, whatever it is that they have, they're going to see how much interest is associated to that. And that's a little unsettling all by itself. We're also going to show them how much interest they signed up for collectively. And sometimes, I kid you not, it's astronomical. And it's always eye-opening for the client to be able to see what it really means to them financially. And then we show them how much of that interest they could keep without refinancing, without consolidating, without changing their lifestyle. No ramen noodle and cardboard diet. It's just, how do you use what you currently earn? And that's the insight that they're looking for. I don't have to go get an extra job. I don't have to, work from home, on weekends. I don't have to rent out a room. All I have to be able to use is what I have right now. Yes. And then we're going to show them the part that they're going to love the most. We're going to show them how much of that interest you can keep.
That's very cool.
Yeah. How soon you could be debt free.
So why don't you give us your website and your phone number and email for me, please, Rick?
Sure. The easiest way to get in touch with me is going to be moneymaxguy@gmail.com. That's moneymaxguy@gmail.com. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. If someone would want a personal analysis done, if they will go ahead and send an email there, they're going to get me. The other thing they can do is they can reach out to me directly. Okay. At 832-694-5943. So it's 832-694-5943. I'm out of Houston, Texas is where I'm at. And so I'm happy to, I meet clients on Zoom. And so I'm pretty accommodating on time. So it doesn't matter if they're Pacific time or Eastern time or Hawaii time. And so it's like, so I meet with everybody. And the website is moneymaxaccount.com. If they went there, they'd see what it is that we do. And Ben, I'll tell you something else they would see there too, that we're so proud of what we do for folks that we actually have a rolling ticker on our website of the interest that we're canceling for our clients. They're getting to see what kind of impact that we're making on getting rid of that debt for them. And so, and they'd be able to see it right there. And so each day it just keeps rolling and ticking about what we're doing. Because we're one of those financial services company that are really making an impact. And I will tell you this, is that everything that we do is always 100% in the client's best interest. If this system would not work for someone, they cannot move forward with it. The system, our approach doesn't allow them to do it. So if they were like in a deep negative cash flow situation, even if they tried to get it, the system would not let them purchase the program. And so we're the first ones that tell the the client that, hey, we can't help you, not at this time anyway. But we do give them insight about, hey, let's do this right here, and maybe we can help you. But there's just so much more to the program. I mean, and there's another feature where we show them about, we call it the consolidation wizard, where we can show them just in transferring balances on credit cards. I have clients that I meet all the time that they've got money sitting on a 29% credit card, but they've also got a 10% credit card that they hardly use. Well, why not just move the money over there? You're paying 200 times more interest. Why wouldn't you just move the money over here and pay 200 times less interest? So we're able to give them some even just aha moments. They were like, oh man, you know what? I for whatever reason, I never thought of it. And that's why the appointment I think is so important for everybody, that if they really wanted to know, and I could even give you a calendar link, Ben, I don't know if people are, I don't know if that would help in some way, but I could even give a calendar link to where they would actually be able to schedule an appointment, ask their own questions. They could schedule an appointment when they ask their own questions. I'm going to answer those questions for them. And if they would like to see what the system would do, I'd send them a worksheet, allow them to go ahead and put their numbers in it, and invite them to come back to another appointment and actually show them, here's what it would do for you.
Sounds good.
Yeah. We do all of that it's a no-cost consultation. So we don't have a fee to look at it or anything. And if they choose to move forward, great. If they choose not to move forward, great. Either way, it's just that, there's true financial help in the world, but nobody knows where to find it. And we don't advertise because we don't have to advertise. We already do. We already do well just in our referral vertical. And so because our clients all refer us to their family members. And so it's like, hey, get my brother out of debt, get my sister out of debt, my kids out of debt.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking to Rick, the Money Max guy, and he shared a bunch of insight with us. His information is going to be on the podcast and also on the website, so check him out. Rick, we appreciate you joining us, and we're welcome to come back anytime and give people updates. And right now we're going to go to the studio and check in with them. But once again, you're listening to Insight to Finance, where we bring you latest things available. And we had Rick, the Money Max guy, and we appreciate you sharing that information with us. Thanks, and Happy New Year, Rick.
Thanks, Ben. Happy New Year to you and your listeners.
Thank you, Ben. And to our listeners, thank you for dropping in today to listen to Insight to Finance with our host, Benjamin Keeley. In our first story, the NBA is in a current time where there is arguably more talent than there has ever been. The way that basketball is played has changed through generations. From Michael Jordan, to Kobe Bryant, to LeBron James, to Stephen Curry, to Anthony Edwards, and also the likes of Jason Tatum, Luka Doncic, and Paolo Banchero. Old and new school players have contributed to the viewership and marketing of the NBA as a whole, drawing attention to the game. However, even with all of this talent, the 2024-25 NBA season has not been what we are used to as far as viewership goes. NBA viewership on ESPN has declined by 42% in comparison to last year. TNT's viewership has declined by over 30%. The problem as to why the NBA is having these viewership problems is arguable. Some say it is because of injuries, some say it is because of the length of the NBA season. As the NBA is aware of this decline in viewership, the NBA continues to try to implement new ideas each season to increase viewership. In our next order of business, the United States and China have renewed their science and technology pact, amid their growing rivalry. The agreement's extension has been under negotiation for months after the United States lawmakers raised concerns that cooperation with China could undermine national security. The agreement is a decade old and officials from both countries aim to narrow its scope and add safeguards to address concerns about national security risks. The document, being signed initially in 1979, was the first accord between the two countries after they normalized diplomatic relations. It has historically been renewed every 5 years, but United States lawmakers have raised concerns about it in recent years as China becomes a growing technological rival. In our last story, Rachel Cruz, of Ramsey Solutions, has expressed the advantages of 401k matching and Roth IRAs. Rachel Cruz gives the number one rule for setting yourself up for success in retirement and paving your way to millionaire status. She explained that there are rewards and benefits to utilizing your job's 401k plan. Many 401k programs, when your company has a match, to go up to that match and use programs like a Roth IRA, When you put up to $7,000 in that per year, and that's a tax advantage. When you take that out, you're not going to have taxes on that. She explains that investing in 401ks and Roth IRAs is a long-term mindset that sets you up for comfort later on. This has been Ellie from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios. Thank you for tuning in. Now back to you, Ben.
Thousands of brave men and women who served in the United States Armed Forces have given their eyesight in defense of our freedom. And the Blinded Veterans Association wants to give them their freedom back. But it needs your help. Go to BVA.org to find out about how BVA's free programs, services, advocacy, and more help America's heroes to not just deal with the emotional and physical issues of sudden sight loss or impairment, but actually work to get them back to the independent lives they deserve to live. Go to BVA.org today.
96 years old, but the stories that he told were like something from a Hollywood movie.
Hi, this is Mike Byer, retired Army First Sergeant and Executive Director for Operation Song. Do you love a good story and great music? Then head over to the App Store or Google Play and download our Operation Song app. The Operation Song app is filled with patriotic songs and videos containing the stories of our nation's heroes. You can also see more great content on our YouTube page, and don't forget to like us on social media.
A torpedo hit his ship, and to this day still lives with. The fact his buddies died, but somehow he survived.
You're listening to W4TB Radio from the Wisdom for the Blind Studios in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where we share some wisdom to help you navigate the seas to stay in calm waters. Please visit us on the web at w4tb.org or drop us an email at feedback@w4tb.org. You can also download the W4TB radio app at the Apple Store or Google Play. Please share the knowledge and tell a friend. Now, back to the show.
Hey, Allie, as always, great job. Happy New Year to you and the guys in the studio. Hey, this is Ben. We had a great speaker, Rick, the Money Man guy, the Money Max guy. Shared a bunch of information. Look for that on the web or the podcast. And, remember to share it with a friend. Tell us what you think. Give us some ratings. And we'll be back next month with another episode of Insight to Finance. And remember, if you like what you see, please donate. That's how we keep things running. All right, guys. Bree, thanks for being our producer. And everybody, our board, our staff, everybody, we appreciate all your hard work and volunteers. And we'll be back next month with another episode of Insight to Finance. Good day.
Hi, I'm Christina Hepner.
And I'm Leslie Hoskins, and we're hosts of the Taking the Lead podcast from Leader Dogs for the Blind.
Our podcast provides insight into the blindness community and impactful stories from our clients.
At Leader Dog, we continue to be the answer for thousands who need our free services. These include guide dog training, white cane training, and more. Once clients complete training, they're reintroduced to a life of safety and independence.
Learn more at leaderdog.org.
Are you a big geek? Do you enjoy learning about new technology? Then join us on the fourth Thursday of every month for the Wisdom Geek Club at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also hear a pre-recorded episode on Wisdom Radio every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. For more information, hit up w4tb.org and click on the Geek Club button on the main page. And don't forget to share the wisdom with a friend.
You've been listening to Insight to Finance, produced by Wisdom for the Blind and VNS Productions, a division of VNS International. Everybody should carry knowledge about their finances and how to prepare for the future. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure you like, rate, and review, and we'll be back soon. Until then, visit our website at w4tb.org. Don't forget to share the wisdom and tell a friend.